Have you ever broken up with a man because of his penis? If so, why? A friend of mine broke up with her BFBC. He used his penis to bang her friend. My friend was constantly being broken up with very quickly by almost every woman, or not getting callbacks after hooking up. We finally got a frank answer from one, after he attempted dating one of my wife's bestie. She says it's really tiny, but not just tiny, it's really skinny too. Then proceeds to show us her pinky finger and said it's literally this skinny and small. This was later confirmed by another friend, who also used the pinky finger analogy. Ouch. Not actually because of his penis, but because he decides to tell me, sometimes when I cum I shit. Yeah, no. Right after he jizzed and shit all over my new mattress and acted like it was my fault. Edit. Of course this becomes my highest upvoted comment after 7 years on Reddit. Follow up. Some of you seem confused about the timeline of this event. He didn't tell me, BTW, when I blow my load I'm gonna pinch a loaf off, he told me after the event. Dude nutted and shat, then decided it was a good time to warn me about his defect? Second edit. Showed this to my husband who already knows the story. He said it wasn't fair of me not to include the best detail of the story. I was blowing this motherfucker when it went down. So I got a mouth full of jizz and a nose full of shit. He shizzed your bed? Shazam. My sister once broke up with a guy she'd been dating, and sleeping with, for about a month. Apparently, she'd never really looked at his penis, sex in dark rooms. She knew he had a tattoo on his penis, but didn't know what it said until she finally went down on him. He had the words bitch binky tattooed on the side of his dick. No, I don't know the backstory. And with that knowledge, she was done. Edit. After 8 years and countless thousands of comments, this becomes my most upvoted comment ever? Effing lol. Don't ever change Reddit. Yes, I have. Because he never fucking washed it. It took me a few dates to catch on, but after the second time I went to go down on him and everything was all still there from the day before, I decided I was out. Yes but no. I dated a guy whose penis had a very severe curvature, so much so that it caused pain. I asked for us to try positions that would be less painful for me. He was upset and said my request made him self-conscious. He was well aware of the curvature, and always felt insecure about it, and my request, he said, felt like a personal attack. I apologized, and then asked if we were to use the position he preferred, if he could at least go a lot slower. He initially agreed only to get caught up in the moment, and go very hard until I literally yelped and pushed him off me. He then actually cried and asked me why I was being so hurtful. I didn't break up with him because of his penis. I broke up with him because he was selfish and inconsiderate with his penile usage. Edit. I can't believe my most upvoted comment is about a prick who was a prick about his prick. Folks, don't ever be ashamed about your equipment. All that should matter is that you're a caring and attentive partner, and if that's not enough for someone, you should go your separate ways to find persons who will make you both happy. A pot for every lid and all that. And as a breathtaking person once advised, be excellent to each other. Edit 2. A few Redditors have pointed out that my ex may have had a condition called Peyronie's, thank you JT Eagle 101 Dunhamal and Bifrostbites amongst many others. And it goes without saying that if you have any medical concerns, just in general, doesn't just have to be about your kibbles and bits. Please see a doctor. As what little I read indicates, it can sometimes indicate an injury or even an autoimmune disease link. Still others have expressed concern that they may have this condition themselves. And I deeply apologize if my comment made you feel badly in any way. I want to be clear that I never blamed my ex for something he could not control. And if anyone ever makes you feel ashamed about your body and doesn't apologize and/or stop when you point it out to them, you should cut them out of your life as soon as you can safely do so. We gotta rock with what we got. So listen to your body, and your partner, and try to make sure you both have a safe and good time. My sister broke up with a dude because his junk was too big. I overheard a conversation when she was telling my mother why she is not seeing him anymore. I laughed when I heard my dad in the background say Jesus Christ. He said that he had showered the hour prior. He did in fact. His hair was still damp, and somehow he still smelled a borderline infection and had cheese. He was also expecting to get some, hence the shower. Could have paired it with a nice Chianti. Don't know if this counts, but a guy asked me out and like 10 to 15 minutes after I said yes he spammed me 10 pics of his dick, so I never talked to him again, and he told my mom I was ignoring him. It kept sending me unwanted selfies. Guy the first went on a couple dates with, disclosed to me he had phimosis. No big deal as my son had the same condition, and I felt like, we treated my son's condition. Why would this be a problem? He goes on to say that he's always refused treatment and as such, his foreskin wouldn't retract at all. Very unfortunate, but the more I thought about it, the more questions I had. I asked him, so you've never washed the head of your penis? And he said very candidly, no, he never had. The actual thought of touching a penis that had never been washed still makes me, fairly nauseous, and couldn't imagine allowing that thing near my vagina or mouth. Just nope. Ended things before we got serious because, nope. Dude had smeglagtites. What a terrible day to be literate. I really hate to be that guy that goes correcting people on the internet, but I think you've jumbled together smeglagmites and smeglactites. Relatively speaking, smeglactites hang off the foreskin ceiling. The smeglagmites grows up from the shaft floor. They are different. I once had to stop seeing a guy who was way too big. I know men love thinking having a massive penis is great, but honestly too big is unbearable. That guy would defo make some serious money as a porn star though, so hats off to him. Just not for me though. Yes. One time it smelled really bad and he insisted on me giving him head. I didn't do it, but the fucking audacity. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. There was other stuff leading up to the breakup though. It's only 5 inches, but it smells like a foot. Sort of. I didn't care about the size, but he really did and overcompensated in other areas to such an extent I felt incredibly smothered. He bought a lifted pickup truck? He didn't wash it. Ever. Nobody wants to be giving a blow job that has texture. Have my eyes, I don't want them any longer. As a straight dude, I would definitely break up with a man because of his penis. My ex's dick being too big, girth-wise, wasn't the reason we broke up, but the difficulty it caused in the bedroom definitely played a role. Lol, I had a coworker that had trouble one night. We was pretty wasted at a bar when he came back from the bathroom with a girl and she looked mortified, so we started harassing him. All of a sudden he whips out a horsecock and was like, "This is why I can't get laid." I dated the nicest man who treated me with so much kindness and respect. It was such a fairy tale type of relationship, everything I could have wanted. Still want in a partner. But his dick was too big. Like, I just could not deal with it. Sex was super painful every single time because it was just too big. 8 years later and it's still the biggest dick I've ever seen in my whole life. I still wonder how he's doing, but not because I want his big dick LMFAO editing to add. He was probably 9 inches and very girthy. We were together for about a year before I just couldn't deal with it anymore. In hindsight, I wish sex wasn't such a big important part of my relationships, but it is what it is. And no, we're not in touch anymore. Not because of his penis, but more the fact he had a micro-penis, and yet wouldn't perform oral sex on me because I was a week overdue for a wax, and he had a terrible personality in general. Basically he had more dick in his personality than his pants. You're not willing to do anything to ensure I'm enjoying myself, and you have like nothing in your pants, and you're not enjoyable to hang out with, then I'm out. More dick in his personality than his pants. LMAO, I'm stealing this. Yes. It was too big and he only knew one speed, jackhammer. Other than that, he would have been perfect. I tried talking to him about it, but he would always have to end it drilling me despite my cries of pain. Yeah, I had a BF whose only move was the jackhammer. He rarely had an orgasm through oral sex. Just would go on and on. I'd get tired. Then we'd just have sex. Thankfully he went down on me beforehand. 'Cause I could never reach orgasm with the jackhammering. He was still having sex like he was 18. Sometimes we'd do doggy, more jackhammering. Missionary? The jackhammer. He'd get bored with me on top and start moving under me. Sex was so boring I lost interest in it. Used to dread weekend mornings when he'd want to jackhammer all morning. I used to try to go to bed early to get away from him and he'd follow me for more jackhammer. He had a nice looking penis, just didn't know how to actually use it. One of the main reasons I left my ex-husband is because his penis only lasted for 2 minutes and I never climaxed. The other reason was he put his penis in his manager. If it makes you feel any better, he only cheated for 2 minutes. I have an unusual story for this. Over 20 years ago I was set up with a Guatemalan guy some friends of mine knew. We went out and I figured I would never hear from him again. He was way out of my league in the looks department. To my surprise, he asked me out again. After a few dates we wound up going back to his place. We were making out and he said he needed to tell me something before we went any further. He told me that several years ago he had been in an accident and the tip of his penis was cut off. It was still functional, but he wanted to make sure I was okay with that before we went any farther. I told him I didn't mind. It was just a small piece of the tip that was missing, but instead of being rounded, the top of his penis was kind of jagged. Not really sure how to best describe it. Surprisingly, this actually made the sex much more pleasurable. As we continued dating, I learned he was in the United States to have plastic surgery to fix his penis. It took 6 weeks to heal, and once it was healed it looked completely normal. And sadly, sex was just normal. Too. Not nearly as good as before. That, along with the fact that after the surgery he kinda became an asshole, led me to break up with him. My friend actually broke up with a guy cause his dick was too big. She is a very small woman. Edit because sometimes I spell things wrong and it irritated both my teachers and Reddit. Sometimes shit just don't fit. As the owner of an attached 3-inch Wonder Worm, I am highly intrigued to see the responses here. I wonder if there might be more concern about the fact you shit the bed twice. What an interesting read. Spent an hour on this already. I wouldn't say this was the reason, but my husband and I are getting divorced and his lack of regard for my comfort during sex and me never enjoying sex with him is a big reason. His penis size is pretty big and he ignores me when I ask him to slow down, stop during certain positions. He has caused actual pain or tears or really uncomfortable friction. A lot of it would be helped if I was turned on, but just his lack of responsiveness to my requests for comfort combined with the size mismatch is awful. It feels violating, plain and simple. He would act annoyed. I am one of 4 brothers. The 3 other brothers are hung like horses and it was talked about and recognized in school. I have an average size penis. Whenever I was lucky enough to get with a girl I was met with disappointment, and I don't think they were wanting a big one from a satisfaction standpoint. They were just disappointed because they wanted to see the Birkin show. Next thing you know, people think I have a small dick. When compared to those 3 hung son of a bitches, yay. Didn't really care then, don't care now. The obsession with big dicks and huge tits is silly. Far too many of these threads have someone smelling bad then refusing to remedy the issue. Like, bro, you can't be asked to simply clean your fucking dick? That's so foul. I can understand why so many people have horrid breath, too. Though, if basic hygiene is such a chore to so many people out there, lol. Yuck. It was for more reasons than just his penis, but I deduced later that it had to be his penis that caused me to have multiple issues with my vagina. I never had a UTI before we met, never had an abnormal pap, and didn't have a lot of bladder infections. The 2 years we dated I had more bladder infections and UTIs than most people have in their lifetime. I had 2 abnormal paps and had to get a cervical biopsy. Thankfully it came back fine. I shit you not, since we broke up I have never had an issue again. I have no idea what the cause was, but I chalk it up to my body telling me to get that dick away from it. Edit. Since many have asked, yes, he was uncircumcised, but I've been with other uncircumcised men with no issue. Some men know how to clean their junk, and some just don't. It smelled like sour cream and bacon chips. Once dated a guy that had a mega penis. No matter what we did, he hurt me. Neither of us found the situation enjoying, so we decided to part ways. Built like a needle, fuck like a sewing machine. Yes. It had some mystery bumps. Warning, graphic warning. Mystery bumps image, closest I could find. At my young age I didn't know what it was or could be, but now, knowing what I know and have seen, I would say genital warts. Yes, the spreadable kind. No, I did not partake. I went off gut instinct. Something didn't look right. Edit. Tense edit number 2. Linking image link, since yeah, you guys want to know what I saw? Yeah, there ya go. Edited with a link. You Reddit folk sure are nosy. Were they like, large and protruding and gross? Men can get 4-dice spots, which are small and harmless bumps they have for life. They look a bit like pimples sometimes, but generally just small bumps of skin. Hope the poor guy didn't just have those. Edit. The wiki page with a pic example for anyone wondering whether they do in fact have genital warts. Edit 2. So happy to read all the comments from people saying they didn't know what they were and it had previously concerned them, etc. Great to see my old teenage insecurities can be helpful one way or another. 4-dice spot gang. So what I've learned from this thread, it really is all about the motion in the ocean, not the size of your dingy. Guys apparently don't know how to wash their own dicks. A friend broke up with a man because he kept loaning it out to other women.